Welcome. You're tuned into Life is a Sacred Journey. Every week, we bring a new perspective to aging and caregiving. Here is your host, Michelle Pope.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the virtual neighborhood of Life is a Sacred Journey. I am your host, Michelle Pope, and it is great to be alive. And it's really good to be with you this morning. I am excited about our guests this morning. They are coming back to really talk about a topic that day after day has become so important to me personally, as well as just being in the world. I want to ask you to get a piece of paper because you're going to write some stuff down that you're going to share with others, phone numbers, things of that nature. But I also want you to hit that share button because there might be somebody out there that this podcast is going to be really important for. And the other is that we may talk about some topics that may be a little sensitive. So if you have some young people around you, please know that we might have some sensitive words that you might not want them to hear. So welcome again to Life is a Sacred Journey. It is my pleasure, my honor to have you here this morning. Thank you to Felicia, who always makes sure that we're live and here and able to make it happen. So I wanted to, first of all, I brought my candle this morning because there's just so much going on in the world. We've got our sisters and brothers and, humanity, we are connected. Our siblings across the pond in Jerusalem and Israel and still in the Ukraine and places all over the world. Maui, people are still, all over. So I want to light a candle this morning, and I don't want this, you guys, to be a symbol. We do this a lot in faith-based communities and we have prayer vigils and we do all that stuff. But this candle is a candle for action. And what I'm asking you to do is to find some place in your community where you can do something that will benefit people in places that are hurting. And then when you do that, you will be doing something more than just a simple action of lighting a candle. So this is for our siblings right now that are in grief and pain, that at this moment don't know where their family members are. At this moment that are grieving because they can't get the bodies of the loved ones that they want to bury and just give them peace. This is for the children that are waking up crying because they are afraid, going to bed crying because they are afraid. This is for the women who can't find their children. This is for the men that can't take care of their children because of war, famine, natural catastrophes, and a system sometimes that keeps them poor. And so this candle is for them. And this topic also that we're going to be talking about this morning. So light a candle, and when you do it, get into action. Because without action, we're going to continue to be having prayer vigils and all of that kind of stuff. I'm not putting that down. I lead those things. But we need to do something more, friends. Good morning, everybody. All right. I am excited because Joy and Laura have been here before, and we have become online friends and pals and everything. So they share me with their world, I share them with our world, and our worlds have come together to do something great. Three of us believe in service, but I'm going to remind you about who they are, and then we're going to get talking here. Okay, so we have Joy Farrow, who is a retired sheriff's deputy with 28 years of experience working road patrol in Pomona, I hope I said it right, Beach, Florida, and facing every situation you can imagine, and you know that. You don't even, you can imagine. After the attacks of 9/11, Joy transferred to the Fort Lauderdale Airport, another place where she saw a lot of things and sex trafficking and all of that. But she also was involved in 2017. There was a mass shooting at the airport, and she learned a lot from that. Joy has had a life of service, and in her service, she has learned about what things need to be taught for safety. And then there's our sibling, Laura Frombach. She was introduced to technology in the US Army, working on the Pershing nuclear missiles, having spent much of her career as a technologist and engineer for IBM and Hewlett-Packard, FedEx, and Coca-Cola, and many, many more. She came to a turning point in her life where she had, those wonderful aha moments, where she realized with her mother's mental illness and domestic violence that she needed to speak out and learn and to glean and to share her spirit with all of you. My siblings here wrote a book that you know a little bit about. And, they came and talked about the book before, and it's Street Smart Safety for Women, Your Guide to Defensive Living. I have given it as a gift to people, sent it to them through Amazon. I'm still using Amazon, forgive me, people. And, just really trying to make sure that the young women and the young people, because also this happens to LGBTQIA, we're finding those numbers are on the rise as well. So good morning to Laura and Joy this morning. I am, and we are so happy to see you. So welcome.
Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning, Michelle. We're thrilled to see you.
Happy to be here.
Well, in getting ready and preparing for this morning, I found some alarming statistics.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I knew some things, honestly, and, on the surface I do. But I didn't realize, this is from the Pew Research Center, which I love Pew because they're one of those cultural, social conscious research centers that try to get all the facts and give them to you so you can decide what you need to do. But Laura and Joy, what I want to talk about online dating. What I did not know, because I've never done it, and I'm not, and friends, as I prefaced in the beginning, nothing we are going to say today is a comparison or judgment.
Right.
Life is a sacred journey. Those two things don't have a place. We are providing you information. So when I say some of the things I'm getting ready to say, it's just factual. Okay, so online dating, it costs money, and women over the age of 55 are spending more of their disposable income on online dating and finding no results, and many of them have been scammed through the online dating, and those numbers are getting higher. People lie about themselves, they put up false pictures, and people find themselves even getting on planes, going somewhere to visit somebody and finding out that person doesn't exist, but yet they were set up to be robbed. I was like, what? They go to the hotel and now somebody's there to accost them and to rob them because they've been set up. They face rejection, and we know that's terrible for our self-esteem, but you face rejection. It creates a tendency for people to have a lot of mistrust, and that there is sometimes a violent element, even more so than what I just said, that goes on behind it. Wow. This thing that started about 25, 30 years ago, and then there were some other sort of mini programs that did it. But now it's like, that's all people, that's how people meet each other. So, Joy and Laura, based on those numbers, something's not right? Because there's no control over it. I mean, I think these companies, I read on some of them, they had disclaimers, they did, but people are being hurt. And I'd love for you to talk about that, and then we'll go into some of the other, but talk about why you spoke about this and what you've learned and and then I know there's stuff in the book, it's a part of the book, but let's raise this up as something that people need to be cautious and concerned about. And good morning.
Hi, good morning. What we realized is, yes, 92 million people are on dating websites because, well, everybody's looking for love.
Yeah.
And the problem is predators are not looking for love. They're looking for a lot of other things to rob you, to pretend to be somebody else, to do what they want online because they found an anonymous platform and they found how to get around it.
And so when you say anonymous, you mean because they can be invisible on the other side, or they can dictate what the other person sees or reads about them. Is that why you're using the terminology anonymous in this?
Yes, and they can pretend with other personas to be the nice person and pretend to be what you want them to be. They're not gonna be the nasty, mean person and show you that they live under a rock. That's not the mindset online.
Right.
They want to get in there, especially if some of them are looking for money, long-term money. You know, they know that women, men are trying to find love, and they find your soft spot. And one sad story leads to another, and most of theirs, now there are good people online, of course, but you know, in order for you to find the good people, you really do need to do your own work. You need to do your own detective work, and you just can't buy into these people right off the bat.
Yeah.
And the other thing about anonymity is safety online, safety with online dating apps begins with choosing the right platform, because the free versions of all of these apps allow anybody to be anything. And quite actually, Matched Group, since we're talking about statistics, Match Group, which owns a host of these dating apps, in about 3 or 4 years ago, they had an interview with ProPublica. And in that interview, the spokesperson freely admitted that there were registered sex offenders on their free products. They know this is going on, but it's unregulated. As you mentioned, dating apps, social media is completely unregulated. So as I said, anybody can be anything. So that's what we want women to do. First of all, is check out the app. Do they have a means of verifying that people are who they say they are? The second thing is the free version of these apps. Many of them don't verify. So if you go to the premium version, which means that you're going to pay some money, yes, but you're going to give a credit card. But in using the premium version, many of the apps will at least check somebody's social media profile. So they will be able to determine that this person really is who they say they are. The second thing is that you are going to meet people who have also, which means they have given the company a credit card. And their information can at least be verified in that way. And the third thing, in addition to scams, again with statistics, in a survey of women who had been victims of acquaintance rape, 14% of those had met somebody online and they were on their first date from an online app. Now that's disturbing enough. But what's even more disturbing is that the crimes that were committed against these particular women were more violent than usual. So dating online is not just a way to meet somebody, it's also a hunting ground for these violent predators.
And when you say more, you know, this is something I was trying to get into just quickly last night, that the violence is occurring because that person who the predator actually thinks less of the individual that they lured out into wherever online. They have almost a disdain for them. So what you're looking for, you're getting the complete opposite. That this person really thinks less of you because of the fact that it, and in their mind, from what I read, this person thinks it was too easy for you to come. And so therefore your life has no value. And that's of course a mentally ill individual, but at the end of the day, you become the victim of that person.
And there are there are many subgroups on the online now, and that's the problem. So there's the manosphere that's out there, and these subgroups are hate groups that have disguised themselves, but the people that are on there because they hate certain groups of people, and that's who they're going after when they're playing whoever they are online. So whether it's women or gays or whoever it is, that's who they're targeting. But you don't know because, well, they're playing along. And that's why it's important to look at their social media to see if they're really a person to, ask questions like we say is, be a little bit of a detective.
Be a flirty detective.
Be a flirty detective. Use your skills. Ask questions. And, people are like, well, they love me. Oh, they sent me an emoji. Oh, this is wonderful. And they're telling their friends. And, some people are like, wait a second. Oh, it's too much. It's only been a week. Hold on. And that's what you have to do. Pull yourself back. You need to ask questions. Too much too soon is a problem.
Joy, you are speaking of a DM that I recently received. I saved it because of you all. I knew you were coming, and I found it hilarious because, first of all, I don't know you. And then second of all, the person said to me, oh, here it is. I just love you so much. I really want us to connect. Please get back to me. And I didn't respond. So then the next one was, oh, I must not be your type. And it's like, yeah, you're not my type because I don't know you.
I've gotten those myself.
Right. You're like, but this is what I realized happens. And help us to explain. You're the experts. You've done this. That they've done their homework on me. And they notice certain things. So they may notice that they never see me in a picture with a male husband, boyfriend, whatever. And so they're thinking by reaching out to me in that way that I'm possibly in the market or possibly lonely or possibly, and it's so funny that I'm like, you're not doing your research enough, because if you were, you would see that I'm a happy individual regardless of whether or not you see me smooching up to somebody. So it's just so interesting, but not everybody is that way, and I'm, again, siblings out there, I'm not saying to you that I'm better than you. What I'm saying is, I've done my homework, and I already know that couldn't be a real person because they don't know me. So they can't love me if they don't know me.
Right.
So, but for somebody out there, Joy and Laura, that's lonely, that is house-ridden or bedridden or seeking that form of attention, for somebody to reach out from out of nowhere to say, I love you, you're special. Is this like a mafia scam? I mean, who are these people that do this outside? Is it a group of people that?
Not all the time, but people, and you'll see there's so many shows and special documentaries on it. Usually it's one person because they've seen it happen. Then they try it, and it's one person, and they just see that it works for them. And what scam happens a lot is, even before the I love you part, it's the I need something. Oh, this accident. I would like to get out of the house, but this accident, I don't have the money to pay for this. And if I would like to meet you. And in comes the, if only I had, maybe, I don't know if you can get, maybe, and then here comes the, well, I can afford to pay for you. I would like to go to the doctor. So a little bit at a time, a little bit, and then it starts getting worse. And I would love to come see you, but I don't have the money. And here it comes. And then it just starts flowing. And, you say to yourself, I can't believe somebody would do this or give that money. Well, it happens. And, it's not their fault.
No,
It is not their fault. Somebody is giving them a terrible story, and these are good people out there.
Yeah.
And I personally know people that it happened to, and they felt bad, and it was my fault. They said, it wasn't your fault.
Right.
You were wrapped into the web. This is what they do for a living. So think about that.
Exactly.
It is, it is not anyone's fault whenever they're caught in a scam.
Yep. And they're doing
caught in a web.
Yep.
Well, the other thing is that we as women, we are naturally empathetic.
Right.
And we do not want to leave anyone in peril.
That's right.
And these predators take advantage of that. They know how women will respond oftentimes to a bad story, to, as Joy was talking about, to a sob story, to that something bad has happened to you and I can help. And so one of the ways that we as women must stay safe online is not to just, I don't say be mistrustful, be careful. Question why this person is asking you. You don't, their family member, you don't owe them. Why are they asking a stranger for resources?
Right.
And what you can do is, well, this should ring, and this is what we talk about, is your safety intuition bell. So whether it's online or whether somebody stopped you on the street, rang your doorbell, a friend of a friend of a friend, it doesn't matter. Your safety intuition bell needs to go off. Oh, horrible, terrible story. Oh, where do you live? So if it's online, where do you live? Oh, you live in Wisconsin? You know what organization helps that? So I don't have to give it to you, but you know what?
That's right.
This is a free organization. I can, try calling them. Why don't you do? And instead of opening your checkbook, here. So if you're a real person, oh no, I tried calling them. Okay, well, I'm sorry. I can't do it right now. And that's what you have to do. And you have to see if that person keeps pushing you. Our other point is you need to be persuasion proof. I'm sorry. I have a boundary, and in your head, you don't have to tell them, but in your head, you're saying, I have a boundary and I don't give out money.
That's right.
I don't give out money to my family. I'm a family in your house, but I mean, you just don't write checks to anybody. There has to be a reason. But you're just not giving money to strangers, and that's your boundary in your head. So you need to set something for yourself, be persuasion proof, and say, oh, they're asking me for money. That's a red line. I'm not crossing it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so important to protect your assets. And when I talk about assets, I'm not just talking about, as we just spoke, your financial, but your soul assets, your emotional assets.
Yes.
Those things, that's what people feed off of. Negative people feed off of your, as Joy was saying, your kindness, and as Laura said, if you are a woman watching this and we're speaking to you at the moment, it's about that. They know you're maternal. You want to help. You want to make sure this person is safe. So that what we're saying is check it all out. Don't be, if you're in love and the person truly loves you, you're going to be in love a long time. And so you can take your time to get there to the moment where that is. And somebody who truly loves you will do anything they can not to ask you for help. I'm here to tell you. They'll do everything they can, and you will be the last resort, and you'll see it as it's happening. So hold on to your money, hold on to your heart, because that's the biggest asset that you have. And if you're going to give it away in little gradual appetizer bites. Don't give it away.
I like that.
Yeah, you know, not the full meal.
Right. I love it. I do. I love
You
that.
know, but I also want to say there was a time when we didn't have to worry about internet stuff. Are there laws and things happening before we move into the campus safety that are in the pipeline to help this online? Because this is becoming a big deal across not just money, but people getting hurt. I read the other day about LGBTQIA trans folks that they are, again, you spoke about the hate groups, that there are hate groups that are luring them into places so they can beat them up or whatever. So, you know, is there anything going on in the legal system to begin to look at this now? Because this is a new crime. This is a new understanding of crime, isn't it?
It is a new understanding of crime. And also consider this, the judicial system, the law enforcement system moves very slowly. It's designed to move slowly to make sure, hopefully, doesn't always work, but it's designed to make sure that no stone is left unturned. Technology moves at the speed of light. So here you have the judicial system, and here you have technology, both moving at very different speeds. So unfortunately, the answer to your question is no. There is only one law that was written in the late 1990s that got social media and technology. And it basically gives these platforms free rein to let anybody publish anything they want because of their First Amendment rights. So the platforms are not held to any specific law, and lobbyists in Washington and state capitals are here to make sure that those laws are not written. And so we talk about this at length in our book, and we as women and we as safety people are discouraged over that, but we do not let that stop us, because we can pressure our legislators, we can be aware for ourselves that this is the way of the world, that this is the way that things are, and that we can be prepared, be open, be generous in our personal lives, but also to be safe. And I'm going to add one more thing about online safety. Is I mentioned earlier, the Match Group, which owns a number of these online companies, they started to partner with an online security group called Garbo a couple of years ago. And that would have enabled women to search public databases to see if the person that they're going to meet had a violent history. Now, they didn't take things like traffic tickets and all of that. They were looking for violence. Garbo discontinued that partnership in August. So really removes a safety layer that was starting to be put in place for women. So what we encourage everyone, really, not just women, but everyone to do, is to do your own due diligence. Go and look for people's social media. Go online and do, some Google searches, some Bing searches to see if they have a criminal history. And also, do not ever respond to a profile that doesn't have a picture unless they have a good reason and they'll send you a picture. Then you know what you do? You take that picture and you put it into Google or Bing and you do a reverse image search on it. And it will search the databases that Google and Bing has in order to see if that was an AI generated image or whether that person has been in jail or prison.
I love that.
One last thing, one last tip about this. TSA pre-check. Ask them if they have TSA pre, because TSA pre also checks databases for criminal history. And because they don't have TSA pre, it doesn't mean they're a bad person.
Right.
But if they do have TSA pre, you can check that box yourself.
Wow. Okay.
So at least and you'll never know what the government found, because it's a government secret.
Right.
But that's a question that you could always obviously bring up with your person. Hey, have you ever been arrested? No, it was as soon as you hear a little hesitation, that's your time to get in there and ask some questions. But if you get a no right off the bat, you can feel a little more confident. But if they go, no, the government turned me down. Well, okay, that might be a question, so at least, hey, you can have a little fun with one way or another. And it's a little information for you. Also, you might want to fly at some point with this person. So, good to know. Good to know.
It's good to have all your ducks in a row.
Right. Yeah. Options.
Okay, I told you to get a piece of paper on the front of our conversation today. So TSA pre, again, not a bad thing not to have it if you haven't had time to stand in line, make the appointment, but it's another thing to put in the toolbox. We talked about also the reverse image search. I love that. I wrote that down. There's a opportunity to advocate in your neighborhood with your legislators about a safety layer. Gargle was one of them that now is no longer, but maybe making it a requirement. Let's be like the Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Let's find ways to go and just keep knocking on those doors and saying there needs to be a safety layer. The other that I loved was looking and just making sure you're asking those questions. Is there a picture? Is there a lot of pictures like of the person? I also noticed this person, no pictures with anybody else, just all by themselves. And I was like, okay, so what are you, a hermit?
Right.
I mean, what is that about? And then they began in it. They didn't have a long history. It was maybe maybe not even 9 months old. So that it's a new profile that they keep moving from profile. And then I found that the picture of the person didn't belong to them. It wasn't even, this person is a totally different person than what the person DM'd me from. So you have to just do your homework, do your homework. And if you ever want to feel loved, get this book, Street Smart Safety for Women, Your Guide to Defensive Living, and it will give you the tools so that you can say, you know what? I have a right to protect myself. I have a right to say, you know what? I need to know a little bit about you, and no, you can't have my address, and no, you can't walk me home, drive me home, follow me home. In your head, say it all in your head, but do that thing that keeps you safe, and you need to be safe so you can live your life, and you will find someone that will love you for who you are, and whatever boundaries, that's the word for today, whatever boundaries that you put up, they're not going to look at them as a bad thing. They're just going to look at you as being a very cautious person, and guess what? It will translate into you're going to be cautious with their love.
Right.
Exactly.
It's all about respect. It's
Yeah.
all about respect, but respect yourself first.
But respect yourself first. So now this is a big deal for me. Since my sibling sisters were here last, you know that I have lost somebody near and dear to me from online bullying, a young person who was in a situation with a bunch of other young people. And the young people turned on her and began to put stuff on not Facebook, whatever the platform is that young people. And it started on a college campus. It started in a dorm space. It started in a place where when I went to college, these things, they kind of happened, but they didn't happen in a lot. But college, campus, sexual harassment, rape, and violence, I found out, is one of the most common things seen on college campuses today. So we know about gun violence, that's in a category there, but sexual assault of both men and women and folks that from our LGBTQ family, IA, are under attack on a college campus where they should be having higher learning and having parties and being fun and happy. And there are protections. So I'm going to have Laura and Joy talk about it. But I found out Title IX, which is a federal law that was put on the books in 1972, was specifically written for academia, but it holds more to it. But for protections against discrimination and sexual assault. But Title IX is not executed on many campuses because the campuses have their own what do you call it, police or whatever, and they try to manage it there. And somebody who has committed a crime of sexual assault on a campus may get suspended, whatever, but it doesn't become a part of a record, a criminal record. And so therefore they graduate, ding, ding, flip the little thing, and you still have a sexual predator out there who now looks like they're not. So I was shocked by that fact. And then I was also shocked that they do all of this training, because my children went to college and I remember those trainings, videos, but I was shocked that these colleges are hiding this stuff instead of calling the authorities in. If you are a rapist, and I'm not gonna, and I'm tired of it being called sexual assault. You are a rapist.
Right.
You are somebody who is going to do it again. So Laura and Joy, bring us into this conversation about campus dating and this phenomenon, because that's what it is. It's popping up and it's getting worse and worse. And can you help us to understand?
And you can't talk about college safety without talking about the college red zone. What's sad is that they had to give it a name. The red zone, 50% of all sexual assaults occur in the first 3 months of the first semester for new incoming women coming to college. 50% of all sexual assaults for the whole college year are in a 3-month span. That's scary. And that's scary when I first heard it. You know, like you said.
Doesn't it, Joy? It makes sense because you're taking this little baby, excuse me. I'm sorry, young people. I know the world has told you because you can vote at 18 and all this good groovy stuff, but you still are a baby. I'm here to tell you, because at 66, you got a hell of a lot more to learn and to be before you are an adult, chemically in your brain, and also to be able to navigate all the drama and what life has to hold coming at you. So I'm not putting you down. I'm just saying, I've been you. And I get, when I was 18, I thought I was this, okay? But boy, I'm here to tell you what I've learned over a lifetime. There's no way my brain could have managed it at 18. So you go off to college, you're on your own, you're drinking, you're doing maybe a little pot, whatever it is, your defenses come down. You haven't experienced it in this way ever, where there's stimulus and people and things coming at you. And the next thing you know, something catastrophic has occurred. And I'm not telling you it's your fault, because you should be able to, if that's your choice, to be drunk as a skunk, butt naked running down the street, and people should leave you alone to do that, and the police will come and get you. But that's not what that's not what's happening. What Joy was talking about, I wrote it down and I was appalled that they said this red zone happens. And I thought, at the time when you're most excited, and the time when you're ready to begin to step away from your mama and papa or whoever your guardian has been up to that point, and here this happens. And
these are students older than you, you know, in that. So we're not talking about stranger activity. We're talking about the students that you're possibly going to make friends with going to the same college, you know, a year older than you.
Yeah.
And this is the thought. And you're talking about, you know, the cover up. The point is, you're allowed to get as drunk as you want to get. It doesn't matter. The point is making an excuse
Yes.
for a guy that decided, well, look, now's my time.
Yeah.
I can assault this person.
Yeah.
They're unable to move. They can't make a decision for themselves. And then to make an excuse for that behavior later, well, they had some drinks, and there is no excuse for the rapist behavior.
No.
You don't need to touch that person at all. I
Thank
mean,
you.
that's the line in the sand, and it's a shame that it needs to be taught in college and younger,
Right.
that you need to stop yourself.
Well, in respect, as Laura, you know, you talk about the respect a lot, and you know, I've watched you, and that word comes out of your mouth a great deal. And the reality is, send your babies off to college knowing that they need to respect. And you have to teach that from a little age all the way up. And you know about the Stanford case out here in California.
Oh, yeah.
And that
Dr.
just infuriated me that the judge had to say, well, we don't want to ruin his life. And I thought, are you insane? Her life is ruined.
Right.
Right. So, Michelle, we have a helpful acronym for college life.
Mhm.
It's called HELP, HELP. So
Right.
first of all, have a plan. When you go to college, have a plan. And that means is scoping out where the campus is, where your campus resources are, so that you know when you're going from class to class, what the shortest way is, what the shortest route is. Find out where your resources are that are open 24/7, the libraries, the cafeterias. So have a plan, and you know, this will stand you in good stead for the rest of your life. When you're in an unfamiliar situation, have a plan, make a plan. Secondly, educate yourself. And you know, that means about these campus resources and about who can help you. Where's the campus police? You know, what are the hotlines? Where can you find help if you need it?
Where are the emergency call boxes?
Yes.
How do you use the box? Which is good to learn before you need it.
Mhm.
So what if your phone isn't working? If you're in an area, it got knocked out of your hand. What if you did run from an attacker? At least if you know, like Laura said, you can run to the library's open. So you don't want to start running in different areas where you're going to come up with a locked door. But if you're new to the campus and you check out the campus with a friend or maybe somebody that knows it a little quicker than you do, and they could show you during the day. Maybe they know also the campus a little bit at night. Oh, hey, they may tell you, listen, you don't want to go down there. Homeless people sleep over there, or that place has been, you know, a situation, or there's bushes, things like that. You know, you're thinking it's a college campus and, well, everybody knows each other and they're nice. Well, it's not in a dome, and it's not secured with guards. Anybody can drive, which is a huge problem on college campuses.
Right.
Yeah.
So the L refers to let's talk. And what that means is for students to keep the lines of communication open with their friends and family. Let them know what's going on with them. Talk about what's going on with you, so that in case you run into a situation, maybe your friends and family can say, oh, that's not such a good idea. Or if something, God forbid, does happen to you, to feel that you can talk to somebody and you can go to somebody, so that you have emotional support.
Yes.
And P, here we go,
Mhm.
party smart.
So here we are talking about being at the party. So go to the party with your besties if you can, and make a pact with them. It's like, hey, I'm going drinking tonight. Okay, but you know what? We're all leaving together.
That's it.
And we're all, going to keep tabs on each other.
Yes.
So, let's not be separated. Don't end up in a secluded area if you're not familiar with the party that you're going to, because, well, we call it the predator ball, is because in a lot of these situations, what they want to do is, even these high school guys, they want to make friends quickly and separate you from your pals. Oh, hey, I wanted to sit with my girlfriend over there. It's like, oh, yeah, no, she's fine. So once you get separated, it may be a little hard for you to, signal somebody, especially if you're upstairs or you're, hey, over here, we could go out by the bushes. If you can't get a hold of anybody and nobody knows that you left, that's a little problematic.
Yeah.
Just something to keep in the back of your head. Hey, let somebody know. I just want check on me. I'm going over here, I'm going upstairs. Give somebody the sign. And that's another thing.
Yeah.
Have a little sign language between you, so you don't have to go through a whole conversation. If you're uncomfortable, little sign language, like in football. They don't talk, right? Little sign language goes a long way.
It does.
The other thing we want students to keep in mind, walk with your hand over your drink. So your hand stays on top of your drink. So you're not like, I got to mind my drink. Absolutely, you should be aware of it. And if you lose track of it, go get a new one. But if you keep your hand on your drink, you're covering the top of it. And it just looks like you're walking around be casual.
Like this.
There are so many.
Yes. There you go. Yes.
Right. There are so many videos on TikTok of how quickly they've dropped. Then they showed you how quickly they have dropped an item into somebody's drink while they were videoing it. And then they said, I dropped a pill in there 4 times. I had to see the video 3 times to see this. That's how fast it was. Wow. I didn't even see it. So just to show you, think it sounds like something from back in the day. Who would do that? They do. And fentanyl is sadly a drug that is out there, and it is deadly. And then there are the date rape drugs that it takes a very little bit. You think you're drunk, and at that point, the potential rapist starts wanting to escort you out to help you out. And that's where the downfall comes, is because you don't realize it until the next day is you're about to be unconscious in a few minutes.
And a lot of times it robs you of your memory.
Yes.
Or it breaks it up so choppy that when law enforcement or want to help you, the story doesn't come back in a way that they get enough data to do what they need to do. And unfortunately, people around you will probably have not taken in the mental movie that they need to take in order to support. And then after, the whole idea is getting as much help as you can, getting as much therapy, getting medical help, and yes, telling on the person.
Right.
If you can.
Right. And if you need to get to a hospital, which is true, like if you know that your friend never gets like this and they can't talk and they're having trouble walking, get them to a hospital, because the first thing they'll do is they'll test their blood, and that is the only way that they could test for this drug.
Okay.
Because the next day that is gone.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not there. No matter what you do, even if you piece the story together, the drug is gone. Mm-hmm. But if they got to a hospital right then, even though nothing has happened, but even though they're in that condition, they can be tested. And at least hey, I was drinking at that party. They put something in my drink. then they'll know, you know, whose house is it, who party is it? Then at least you start piecing stuff together. And surprise, people start videoing, which is another problem.
It's the videotaping thing is something that I'm trying to get into advocating. The young woman, my goddaughter, who committed suicide after a videotaping and then bullied online by the person who did it, as well as her circle of friends, just showed me how the emotional intelligence of our young adults is just not there. Because how can you do that to a friend? How can you not support a friend? And what are we not teaching? That's why, Laura, what you said about educate and let's talk also says to me, let's start having this dialogue and conversation around these topics when again, I always say when they're young, before they're in these modes or in these situations, that they can understand the bullying made her commit suicide. So this event happened, but the bullying on top of it just made it unbearable. There's no counselor in the world that could have kept up with the pain that she was trying to sift through. So, you know about this too. So all of this stuff that's happening, social media, because we'll tie it together. Then we're gonna spend a few minutes, friends, on Halloween, because this is Halloween is new. We don't do it the same way anymore. So the whole idea of being smart and being safe also means being safe in the relationships that you gather around you, because you want people like Laura and Joy. If I were going to go out with them, I know they wouldn't leave me behind. You know what I mean? If I were missing in action for a minute, they'd be looking for me.
That's
and
right.
even to the point where I might have to glare at them like, I got this. But
Or
they,
your wing women.
but they wouldn't leave me, without knowing. And so that is, to me, something young people, moms, dads, uncles, grandmas, all of you out there, teach your young people that it really is important that you don't leave people behind. You want to go and look for them and figure out what's going on. So,
right. And I just want to say, you're talking about the young people. I want to say that, all guys aren't bad. So, when you're sending your boys off to school, to college, let them know that if you see this happening to a woman at a party, help her.
Yes.
Get some people and help her. Don't laugh. Don't have a phone. Don't talk about it the next day. Get in there and be the man that you are and help. See something, do something about it. And women, these are the guys you want to be with. That's the guy you want to be with. That's who you're looking for. The guy that stands up for women and says, don't talk to her like that. Don't do that. Let's leave. This is ridiculous. And, the way they're talking, hanging, swinging from the lampshades and all that. Come on now. Stand up for women out there.
Stand up. We're all in this together.
Yes.
I love both of these women so much. Their work is ever changing, and they're constantly educating themselves. Well, when we talked about bringing them back, Halloween, we didn't know we would be so close to Halloween. So Halloween, I know. Halloween has changed, though. We do trunk or treats. We do all kinds of different things. But what are the 21st century rules, the 2023 sort of rules and safety protections around Halloween?
So remember I mentioned before the Predator's Ball? Well, Halloween is the Predator's Ball because it's like being online. Anyone can be anything.
Yeah.
So we talk about these college parties, and predators know that these young women are going to be there. They know they're going to be drinking. They know they can be anonymous. What can women do? Well, first of all, for ourselves, wear makeup, non-toxic makeup, instead of a mask, because that way your peripheral vision won't be blocked.
Mhm.
So,
Also, wear flats. Wear flats. You may want to wear the big heels, save that for some other time, but wear flats because you want to be mobile. And along the same lines is make sure that your clothing is loose enough so that if you need to, you can fight back, you can defend yourself.
yeah.
And speaking of defending yourself, when you go to these parties, we strongly encourage self-defense tools. Now, these are easy to carry, they're small, they're inexpensive, and Joy's going to show you a couple.
Yeah.
Here's
Joy, thank
Here's
you.
one that I carry all the time. This is a tactical pen. So it's made out of steel. It is a real pen.
Okay.
And at this end, it has a steel tip that can break glass and
Oh, yeah.
guard against an attacker. So all you got to do is hold it like that. You can, clip it to your outfit, stick it in your purse, but you know what? It's not going to break. So if you need to punch somebody in the neck or the throat, we're talking really defend yourself,
Yeah.
it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And, even a small flashlight, a
Okay.
little metal flashlight this big, fits in the palm of your hand,
Okay.
can defend off an attacker, turn the light on right in their eyes, and it will stun them.
Mhm.
But just being a little metal flashlight, you could stick it in your purse. And the pepper spray now comes in a little faux lipstick.
Oh,
So if you weren't carrying anything else, it's a little longer than your finger, and it
Like this.
can,
It's like this.
stick to your outfit, and
Mhm.
you could put it in your purse, but it's pepper spray. So nobody knows you're carrying it. Even if it dropped out of your purse or off your outfit, nobody would know what it was, but it would be good to use in an emergency.
I love that. Pepper spray that I happened to have. This is my lipstick. So it's going to be about that size.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Little, tall and thin, but nobody would know what that was.
okay.
And,
the
the
metal
best thing to
flashlight.
use, right?
And the metal flashlight you said fits in the hand.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, it's this big.
Okay. Perfect.
This is metal.
Yeah.
So you can use it as a weapon when you're wearing it, just like this,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like this. So,
Yep.
if you have to use this, sorry, Laura,
Yep.
this is great.
Mhm.
In the face, whatever you do is to defend yourself, to
Mhm.
deflect something, turning the light on in their eyes, especially at night, even during the day, like pepper spray. It's going to be something in your face that
Mhm.
they're not expecting. And of course, you never have to say, if you're armed with anything, I have a weapon. So you never need to announce anything. You
That
don't need to announce, I'm calling the police. Call the police. Call the police at the first second. Push the button on your phone, sides of your phone. You can alert the police. It'll call your contacts. Things like that. You don't have to let them know. Half the time, predators don't care. An attacker, they don't care. But you know what? If you're in the middle of a fight, start pressing the sides of your phone. Anything, any alarm that you have, anything that's going to irritate them, those little sonic alarms.
I just was thinking that when you said
Absolutely. Anything that's going to cause attention. And like we've said before, you want to be loud. Being attacked is not something that you need to keep to yourself.
that's
You
right.
see somebody walking by and they don't know what to do. Yell out, call the police. I need help me. They
Yeah.
don't know what's going on. They don't know boyfriend, girlfriend fight. No, help me.
Yeah.
So at least somebody knows. People are afraid to get in a fight, these days, because innocent bystanders have been hurt. But you, as an innocent bystander out there, call 911 and help somebody if, you don't want to get in a fray.
Yeah.
Call the police and say, I don't know what's going on. It looks like
Exactly.
she's being attacked. That's all. Police are on the way.
Yeah. Yeah, err on the side that it could be bad, and if it's not bad, then everybody goes away okay, happy. You had a moment, you made a memory, as opposed to something going wrong and your life is
I used to go to those calls. Yes, I used to go to those calls round the clock.
Yeah,
People don't know, and that's what people would say, especially with domestic violence, and that you don't know what's going on, but they would feel bad for calling. I'm sorry, I'm calling. We'd say, no, we're on the way. We're going. We don't know what it is, but it's loud. I heard yelling, and that's all. You don't need to hear a whole story.
Nope.
You know, you heard a woman scream on a college campus. That's all you have to hear. You don't have to know who it was, where it was. I didn't see anybody. I heard a woman scream, and I don't hear it now, but at least the police can come and check.
Yeah.
You know, maybe that's not the first time they had an incident that night, but maybe they were looking for someone and now they have another incident. So it's always good to take the extra step call.
And there was a woman, I can't remember her name right now. Her brother just did a documentary. It happened in New York where she was screaming for almost 15 minutes and the assailant ended up following. She was in the street screaming. He followed her to her apartment and murdered her. I can't remember her name, but that was that where people heard it, saw it, but they were so afraid to get involved. And again, that's why you'll notice on Life is a Sacred Journey, I called these two beautiful women who are doing this great service to us and helping us to learn as we go, siblings, because it makes a difference when I think of somebody as a sibling, as a partner, as a part of my human family. I have a vested interest in whether they are okay. Right. So that may not work for you. You know, whatever it is for you, but it works for me. And everybody who knows me knows I will call you sibling in a minute because I want to change you from being a guest in my life to being somebody who has the ability to receive my respect. And so whatever works for you, just don't look at them as a stranger and look at them as somebody that is possibly your family member, because they are, if they're part of the human race. So Laura, any last words before we sign off on this? We had a wonderful conversation. I'm so excited.
Thank you so much, Michelle.
Well, I appreciate you so much. You know, travel, your tips on travel, the tips that you've given today on, you know, online dating, campus life, and how to protect yourself, those, particularly the red zone. Thank you for bringing that up, Joy. I wrote it down on my piece of paper. So when you said it, I was like, yay. You know, all of those things, the pepper spray, the tactical pin, the predator ball, I'm going to remember that for the rest of my life. But also that it's about the online stuff, you know, the reverse imaging. So folks, as you're watching this, whether you're watching it now or as it goes out into circulation, please pick up Street Smart Safety for Women, your guide to defensive living. This, I don't have my book, I forgot it at the kitchen table, but it's here and you can get it. And the other thing is buy 2 copies. Give it to somebody that you know. You have a granddaughter who has a friend, a neighbor that you see a young person coming out. Leave it anonymously if you don't want to. Just give it away. Take it to your church. Begin conversations with women church groups. Street Smart this is a book. All the chapters are broken down in such a way that I actually need to get some more copies. Technology terror. Can you recognize a predator? Persuasion, manipulation, dating diligence. What do victims of domestic abuse have in common with Korean War POWs? That's another chapter. Financial security. Tips from a female cop. We know who our famous female cop is. Shams, scams, and cons. Women and weapons from victim to victor. So this is a wonderful 11 chapter book that you can keep it, put Post-it notes. Mine has actually Post-it notes so that I can pull it for certain things that really were my aha moments when I read it, so I can share it. There's certain things that you need to have in your home. For me, it's the Bible, the Quran, and all the biblical books, but it's also my thesaurus and my dictionary. Yes, I still use them. And now it's going to be this book, because I am out and about in the world, and I need the reminders, when I'm packing. When I'm packing now, I have one of those door things for my hotel door.
And this is good for your college too, your college dorm door.
Oh, I hadn't even thought about that.
Oh, this is great. Put this in the lock, and it's called add a lock.
And that's it.
This is great. There's also the wedge that you can use with an alarm that goes under there. That wedge is great to use in a dorm room or in hotel rooms.
I love these women. Okay, I love these women, and you need to love them too. So Joy Farrow and Laura Frombach are two individuals, two women, two people of humanity, of this greater world that we live in, that found a need, and they're filling it, and they're helping us to remain safe. They will come back to Life is a Sacred Journey. We'll have them back, because we haven't even begun the conversation, and we'll bring Carolyn Brent possibly in it, because she's been the victim of a major scam, somebody stealing her identity. And so those things are happening in a big way. So we'll continue this safety conversation. And I want you to know, we use the terminology of women, but young men who are out there, this happens to you too. So this book, you can benefit. And definitely those in our community from the LGBTQIA trans world, this book really would help you a great deal, because I do know that you are a target the minute you identify who you are. So let's get this book out and in circulation to help us to live our best lives, because we will feel safe. Oh, Joy and Laura, I asked you, what are your last statements to our family?
My last statement is respect yourself. Love others, respect others, but first and foremost, love and respect yourself.
Oh, listen to yourself and trust in your safety intuition.
Okay, so those two things, if you do that, love yourself, know that you are wonderfully, magnificently made. I don't care what you look like. I don't care what other people have told you. As of this moment in your life, Joy, Laura, and I say, you are magnificent. And so don't let anyone steal your magnificence from you. And then that little thing, that when you feel it, and other people say, oh, ignore that. You're just being silly. You be the one to say, no, that's my little Jiminy Cricket. And I like right? I like Jiminy. And I'm going to listen to Jiminy, because I don't want to end up on the island for lost boys.
Right.
And it's okay. And walk away. And if they're your friends, they'll walk with you. And if they're not your friends, then you don't need them anyway, because they probably wouldn't have been your friends much longer anyway. Okay, so don't worry about it. So I want to thank Joy Farrow and Laura Frombach again for coming back to Life is a Sacred Journey. Our topic today has been around online dating and college campus safety, and preparing ourselves for Halloween and wonderful parties and places where we get to wear costumes. I love the idea of the makeup and not the mask, so you have peripheral vision, all of that. You'll be watching this, share it, hit the share button, go buy the book. You know how we end this, friends. Suicide now, I've been talking about suicide forever. But to have somebody close to me whose sacred journey was cut off because of some of the topics we're talking about today, and that they thought suicide was the only way that they could get rid of the pain, it makes it more important to me. If you are that person, I know you don't want to talk to your loved ones, because this person didn't want to talk to to their loved ones. Dial 988, text 988. Get in the middle of the street and scream to the top of your lungs, somebody help me. But whatever you need to do not take your life, okay? Because when you get the right people listening to you, they're gonna help you see that little light at the end of the tunnel. And it's gonna take time. It's gonna take a lot of hard work. It's gonna take a lot of tears, but you'll be alive. And in that, the day will come where you will feel joy. It will. You just have to give it time. And time is so, it's terrible. But dial 988 and there'll be somebody there to help you. Also, I wrote down, because of Laura and Joy being here, this sexual hotline number, 1-800-656-4673 or 1-800-656-HOPE. So if you're afraid this has happened to you, pick up the phone, call somebody, text somebody. Then online, there's online.rainn.org. These are two places where you can go. You know, we try to always give you resources here on Life is a Sacred Journey. It's been a heavy topics. And I know it's hard to listen to all this stuff. But when you know stuff, you can help yourself and you can help others.
Exactly.
So, take a deep breath, friends, because I know I need to at this moment, because I almost lost it there. But hug a tree.
Hug each other.
Hug each other. Hug a cat, pet a dog, and go out in the world and be the best person you can be. And when you see somebody not being their best, call them out if you can. If you can't, call somebody else that can get them away from the rest of whoever, so that they can get better and the person can be safe. Because it's only mental illness that's making all this happen, or trauma, you know, because hurt people. And that is the truth. So thank you for a wonderful show.
Thank you, Michelle, so much.
Ladies, for being here, and all of you out there in the Life is a Sacred Journey, our neighborhood. Write in the chat, ask questions. Laura and Joy follow Life is a Sacred Journey. So if there's something that came up for you and you want to ask a question, put it in the chat and they'll see it. And thank you. Thank you so much. Have a great day in the neighborhood.